The episode starts with Seldon ranting to himself about things from the recent past. A version of his consciousness inside the Prime Radiant tries to break out of it by taking the help of the Radiant's manifestation itself. On the contrary, Gall is surprised to learn that Salvor is her daughter, born from the embryo placed in the seed bank inside their ship Deliverance many years ago. Even though Mari Harden was the one to carry Salvor in her womb, Salvor is intrigued if her genetic mother Gall also feels drawn toward her, just as she is. Shortly after, Gall and Salvor notice that Seldon's plan is swerving from its path, so they work together to reactivate Beggar, Salvor's ship, so that they can get back to Terminus. In the next scene, Brother Day makes love with Demerzel in his bedchamber. Suddenly, they are ambushed by Blind Angel's assassins, and Brother Day survives by placing Demerzel between them. As a result, half of Demerzel's head is cut off. The assassins manage to inject a nanobot inside Brother Day, who is subdued, but the still functional Demerzel kills them and rushes Day to the medical chambers, saving his life. After he recovers, Brother Day has Dawn and Dusk both go through a memory audit as he suspects them of being complicit in the assassination attempt. Furthermore, this near-death experience has left Brother Day shaken, so he meets Queen Sereth Atrurs of the Cloud Dominion with the prospect of marrying her so he can end the genetic dynasty. However, she doesn't find him impressive and turns his offer down. Soon after, the Empire finds out that the megaflare near Terminus was fake and pre-planned to deceive them into thinking that the Foundation collapsed, while it actually never did. While they decide to look into the matter, on the other hand, Gall and Salvor are almost ready to get off-world, while a hurricane is on its way. Gall discloses to Salvor that she took Seldon's digital consciousness with herself in the Raven and trapped him in the Prime Radiant because she doesn't trust him. Just then, they learn that the ship has avionic faults, which prompts Salvor to convince Gall to release Seldon. However, Seldon manages to do so by himself and joins them in the cockpit, much to their surprise. He yells at Gall for his torment, especially since her escape interrupted the establishment of a second foundation necessary for the survival of the first and led the plan off course. Gall apologizes, and then Seldon jumpstarts the ship and they leave Synax just in time, narrowly avoiding huge storm waves. In the next scene, Queen Sereth tactfully talks about the assassination attempt over dinner. In the next scene, when a loud siren is heard originating from Terminus for the first time ever since the vault was opened, Polly Verisov, High Cleric of the Foundation, and Brother Constant halt their duty to spread the Foundation's mission on planet Sewena and return hastily to Terminus to figure out the reason. There, Warden Fount tries to enter Seldon's vault but ends up being charred to death, and the name Hober Mallow appears, written on the vault. On the other hand, Gall gazes 150 years into the future and gets attacked by the Mule, a telepath responsible for the impending darkness, just before she sees a lifeless Salvor near her. After this encounter, Gall learns the location of the second Foundation from her future version to be on the planet Ignis. In the next episode, Demerzel frees and hires an imprisoned General Bel Riose to investigate the unconventional Foundation. After reuniting with his husband Glawen Kerr, he leads a fleet for the investigation. On the other hand, Seldon brings Gall and Salvor to Una's world, a once mining and desert planet, and convinces Gall to carry him to the mountains, where he entails the help of Kala, an old friend, to help transfer his consciousness into an organic body. Shortly after, they are attacked by mining machines. The girls evade the autonomous machines and retrieve Seldon's unconscious body, after which they leave the planet. In the next scene, a con man named Hober Mallow steals the Eye of Coral by using a teleportation device. However, his plan doesn't work, and he is captured and sentenced to death. However, he survives by using the device again and escapes into the ship of Polly and Constant, who had arrived in Coral to appeal for Hober's release. The next episode starts with Dawn and Sereth questioning each other about their possible involvement in the attempted assassinations of their respective families while strolling in the palace gardens. In the next scene, Rose and Glawen enter Sewena and meet Duchem Bar, an informant who tells them about some magicians, their modern technology, and their link to the Foundation. Just then, a mob attacks them, and Duchem poisons himself to avoid being interrogated. On the other hand, Polly, Hober, and Constant reach Terminus, enter the vault, and meet Hari Seldon, who asks the clerics to start peace talks with the Empire to prevent a war and gives Hober some other instructions. After that, Hober leaves in their ship with Becky, Constant's pet. In the next episode, Seldon wakes up to a phantom of Rach just moments before dreaming about the time when Rach stabbed Seldon on the Deliverance. The apparition disappears into thin air instantly, after which Gall, Salvor, and Seldon discuss the latter's reincarnation. Just then, the beggar enters into the Ignis's atmosphere and crash lands on the planet due to negative ions. On the other hand, Sereth tries to investigate how Day survived the assassination attempt and agrees to marry him after a heated conversation, while Brother Dusk confides to Rue, Sereth's advisor, that he is upset about Day's authority to conduct memory audits. Sereth and Rue unearth the robotic nature of Demerzel. In the next scene, Salvor runs into Hugo, who was earlier presumed dead. When she brings him back, Seldon is skeptical, and rightly so, because this Hugo is actually a telepath who attacks the ship and captures Seldon, Salvor, and Gaul with the help of other telepaths, after which he brings them to their leader, Tellem Bond, who is already aware of their plans for a second foundation. We also learn that Ignis serves as a refuge for mentalics and telepaths. In the next scene, Salvor meets Josiah, a young mentalic at a beach, and uncovers through visions that Tellem saves mentalics from executions and brings them to Ignis. When Tellem expresses her doubt regarding the second foundation, Gaul shares her ability of foreknowledge with her, but she does not accept the knowledge of an inevitable future. When Seldon expresses his doubts regarding Tellem when she offers to train Gaul as her successor, they have an argument, after which Seldon plans to leave Ignis, but Tellem has her secretly captured in a tidal pool to kill him. As he slowly drowns, he sees flashbacks of his childhood in Helicon and his time with Yana. On the other hand, Sereth throws off an unprepared Brother Day when he introduces her as his bride-to-be to the people of Trantor and wins the crowd. In the next scene, Constant and Polly reach Trantor to talk on behalf of the Foundation, but they are arrested, whereas Hober reaches the coordinates that Seldon gave him and climbs the Spacer mothership. The next episode begins with Queen Sereth's mandatory medical inspection to prove her fertility. After the procedure, Demerzel implies that Brother Day might have played a role in Sereth's family's assassination and confirms her doubt. Sereth then confronts Brother Day and asks Brother Dawn to father her children instead. On the other hand, Hober comes across the Empire's navigators called the Spacers and offers them Opalesk, a micronutrient they are dependent on, in an attempt to free them from the Empire's rule. The navigators refuse his offer and turn him over to General Riose. With Becky's help, Hober escapes from Riose on his whisper ship using the Foundation's jump technology. In the next scene, the imprisoned Constant and Polly are brought into the public and they show an interface of Seldon that confronts Brother Day, who orders a blockade around Terminus. Meanwhile, on Ignis, Salvor is perplexed about Seldon's sudden departure, and she eventually finds Seldon's drowned body. Just then, Tellem knocks her out, and she falls face down in the pool, while Tellem says that death is necessary at times. Next, Brother Dusk learns that the Cloud Dominion has memory restoration capabilities and suspects that Rue might have been involved in the assassination attempt, but she denies it. Just as Polly and Constant are about to be executed, Hober shows up in the Whisper ship. As the unrest grows, he rescues Constant, but is unable to save Polly. Becky nearly kills Brother Day, but she is gunned down. After this disaster, Brother Day decides to visit Terminus despite Demerzel's and Dusk's resistance. Rue berates Sereth over her recklessness regarding Brother Dawn. Later, an imprisoned Salvor connects with Seldon in the vault through the Radiant, and he helps her escape. In the next scene, we learn that Tellem has also captured Gaul and intends to transfer her intellect into Gaul's body. While Sereth and Dawn make love in the heat sinks on Trantor, Dusk and Rue discover a secret passage that leads to another chamber. There, they find Cleon Rhee's projection, which tells them a lot about Demerzel's origins. The next episode starts with a flashback from 610 years ago, where a young Prince Cleon of the Entung dynasty stumbles upon a chamber in the palace and comes across a disembodied Demerzel. She tells him tales of robot wars, and over the years, Cleon develops a soft corner for her. An elderly Cleon finally frees Demerzel from her 5,000-year-long captivity, but also installs a program that forces her to serve the Empire. Coming to the present, Cleon traps Dusk and Rue since they know the truth about Demerzel. Meanwhile, on Ignis, Tellem tries to transfer her psyche into Gaul, but Salvor rescues Gaul, and they run to their ship. In the next scene, Brother Day meets the Foundation leadership on Terminus and orders his guards to execute the priests inside Seldon's church. Suddenly, a battle ensues between the Foundation and the Imperial fleet. Day goes into the vault and asks Seldon to denounce psychohistory. On Seldon's refusal, Day orders to destroy Terminus with the Invictus. Hober and Constant are taken captive by Riose and brought to the bridge, and Day returns to his vessel from Terminus. In the next scene, Salvor subdues Tellem's enforcer Loron and kills him by trapping him in an airlock. Inside the ship, Tellem appears out of nowhere and captures both Gaul and Salvor, but a still-alive Seldon attacks and kills her. In the end, Demerzel leaves for Trantor, while the Emperor watches the destruction of Terminus by Invictus. The last episode begins with Imperial troops jumping to the Foundation's allies in order to destroy them. When General Riose refuses to obey the Empire, Day sets him free, and just then She-Ben's light uses a jump sequence that forces the ships to jump into each other, destroying the entire fleet and setting the spacers free. Riose shields Hober when Day tries to kill him. Day throws Riose out of an airlock, but Riose swaps places with him with Hober's teleportation device. Hober then ejects Constant on a cleaning module so she can have a chance at life. On the other hand, Demerzel learns that Dusk and Rue know her truth. Before she reluctantly kills Dusk, he marks her neck in green. Next, Dawn realizes the gravity of events and sets the pregnant Sereth free from captivity, after which they flee Trantor. With all brothers gone, Demerzel creates copies of all three and activates the copy of Prime Radiant given to her by Seldon. In the next scene, Seldon's vault pulls in Constant's pod, and there she learns that it contains the entire population of Terminus, along with her fathers and Polly. Back on Ignis, Salvor tells Gal how she helped Seldon from drowning as she connected to his conscience, and that Tellem was using her powers to influence the Mentalics. However, before her death, her psyche transferred into Josiah, who tries to kill Gal. Salvor attacks him but dies with the shot intended for Gale. With Salvor's death, Gal and Hari realize that the future is not set, which gives them hope. They opt for cryosleep, waking only shortly each year to train the second foundation for the battle in the future. In the end, 152 years later, an insane mule realizes that Gal is alive as she speaks to him in his dreams, and he ventures out to find her. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Watch the next videos on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.